Well, Darci Lynne, it's so good to see you again after feels like a whole lifetime ago that we shot the Reagan movie.
Yes, good to see you too. I know, it's been a while.
Your career keeps marching on. So
hmm
you just got finished with the tour, I heard.
Yes, I just got back from some shows out in Connecticut, Massachusetts, and it was a crazy run. I ran a half marathon actually in Brooklyn, New York, and
Oh
then
my
drove
goodness.
to Massachusetts and played a show that night. So that was crazy.
Wow. We'll get back to this later, but what's it like? What is your touring schedule like? And is it like just entire runs or is it dates here, dates there? What's it like?
Yeah, it's more sporadic than like a conventional tour.
Hmm.
So I don't really go out for like weeks at a time. So I usually just kind of to and from, but I'm averaging like 8 shows a month. So
Okay.
I'll go out like 2 weekends out of the month. So it's been pretty good. It's a lot of times, but it's really fun.
Yeah, well, that's awesome. Well, just to for our listeners and viewers who may not remember,
Mhm.
because you have a lot going on, but somebody in our team, I don't know who it was, but some genius in our team said, Darci Lynne lives out the way we're shooting. We should talk to her about having a role in the Reagan movie. And then we thought about it. What would be the role be? And we thought about this awesome damsel, fake damsel in distress
Yeah.
that Ronald Reagan was going to save from allegedly drowning, and you were the perfect person for it because it also took a little bit of humor. You had to have kind of a impish look on your face, like you knew what you were doing. But anyway, talk about it and what was it like doing shooting those scenes?
Oh my gosh, it was a blast. I think the one thing I tell people when they ask me is it was just so cool to shoot like a period piece because you just kind of step into this whole new world with all of the costume and set design
Right,
and stuff. So that
right.
was I think that was my first initial like this is so cool. I've never
It's
done anything like
1930
this.
all of a sudden, right?
Yes, it was awesome. It was a blast though. David Henrie's so talented too, so it was really cool to shoot with him just because I'm a fangirl. Like I grew up watching Wizards of Waverly Place on Disney Channel, so that was like I got to tell my friends like, yeah, David Henrie, he saved me. So that was so fun. But the scene itself was hilarious. And it was really fun to watch it back to see how it tied into the story and stuff. But yeah, and I found that super interesting too because I didn't know that girls would fake drown um for Ronald to save them. And so that was a new piece of information that I learned, which was it's so funny.
I
It
think
was a
for us,
blast.
it was good for us to have that scene because you sort of mythologize this man who saved 77 lives. Well, yeah, maybe some of them, but some of them were like people like you who wanted to get his
Yeah.
attention.
hmm
Yeah. Well, I'll never forget. First of all, we delayed that scene by about 9 months. I think you remember that because we
Yeah.
were planning to shoot that in the fall,
hmm
around November. And then
hmm
once we got delayed by COVID
COVID.
shutdowns, it was too
Yeah.
cold to shoot.
Yep.
So you must have been, yeah, you were waiting around till like the following July,
Yep. I
uh,
remember it was July of 2021.
2021. Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. And I had just shot a cowgirl song, a movie I did in Chickasha, and
Hmm.
then I got to film this scene, of course, and it was like yeah, I think it was out in Guthrie, um, and it was a hot day, so it was like perfect to be in the water, and I just had to just fake drown 5 different times. It was the best job ever.
David said he had been working out, getting ready for the November shoot. Then when it got delayed, he went back to eating, whatever he wants to eat, and then started again in June to get ready for July because he had that, he had to have the lifeguard suit on, so he wanted to look
Yeah.
good. But I'll never
Also,
forget.
what's oh sorry
You
to
bet.
interrupt.
Go for
Um,
it.
no, what was also crazy about that day is I just was in shock at what they used to swim in. It's
Right.
like I was in a sweater.
It's like a burqa.
Yeah, I was in a sweater. I was like, how in the world were they swimming in sweaters?
Yeah.
Then that was also another thing that I thought of.
Yeah, and then David had all covered up like with his male lifeguard bathing suit.
Yeah. And didn't he have to cover up his tattoos, right? Since he had a lot of,
Oh,
I think he had
now
some
the whole
tattoos.
world knows that he has tattoos.
Oh no.
He's in trouble with Disney now. No, 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 I don't think that's true. Um, but I remember it was a really difficult. I was a little bit nervous because I heard there were snakes in that lake.
Oh my
Maybe
gosh, I didn't know
maybe
that.
you know about this.
It's probably a good thing I didn't know
Yeah, because there were supposedly snakes, but I think they had a way of rustling them away or doing something to make them to scare them away. But
Yeah.
I
Oh
was
my
like,
gosh.
and I
That's
hope nobody
crazy.
gets. I mean, I'm sure they're not poisonous or anything, but
Yeah. And I
you
do
have
remember there was part of the scene that didn't make it into the movie.
right.
And we were they had me I was on like a little like quilt with some of the other girls and it was that was a part of the scene that didn't make it in, but it was funny. I think I had a line of like watch this and then I and then I walk into the water, but
Well,
it was so funny.
we may create some other versions of the film, so just stay tuned. We're going to try to
Yeah,
get that
right,
scene
right.
out there because you're right. We had a lot. I mean, we had about the movie was 2 hours and 10 minutes, but we probably have 4 hours of movies. So
Wow.
we got to
Yeah.
find a way to share that with the world. So don't give up on that scene yet. Yeah. So was this your first acting role in a movie?
No, it was actually my second. So like I said, I was in the a cowgirl song. It was
Oh,
we
right.
filmed it in Chickasha and part of it in Oklahoma City, but or actually no, the whole thing was shot in Chickasha. But
Mhm.
it was yeah, just I got a low budget movie that I got to do. It was really that was my first kind of thing, but I did the same summer or year that I did Reagan.
Hmm.
And so, but I got to play like the main character's younger sister and it's just a really like good family feel good story.
Hmm.
Um, and so yeah, so the Reagan was my second, but it was so cool though the getting to go to the premiere and at
Right.
the Chinese theater in Hollywood. That was so memorable for me. I was kind of in awe that day.
It
Uh,
was fun. Anything surprise you about the filming process?
ooh. I don't know. I think probably just how unpredictable it is.
Hmm.
I think, when you think about how movies get made, you're like, I don't think people, I guess just the common spectator think about all the things that goes into making it
Right.
and how many people it takes and just kind of the determination to see it through, really.
Mm,
That I think surprised me a lot and just made me appreciate the people that work in film and television more. Because it just takes a lot of, like I said, determination and kind of trying to make it through all the chaos. But
yeah.
I think that surprised me.
Yes, lots of chaos, especially when you have a pandemic going on all around
Oh
us,
my gosh, yeah,
right?
whole other factor.
Yeah, we had no shutdowns during your time because that was almost a year later. So by that
Yeah,
time, things had quieted down. But the first part, we had two shutdowns. That's what caused our
yeah, I remember that.
delays.
It
Yeah,
was wild to think about. Yeah, because I think at one point I was like almost thought, I didn't know if I was gonna even get to do my scene,
yeah.
just because of how crazy it was everything that was happening at the time. But I'm so grateful that ended up working out and what a beautiful film came out of all the shutdowns and adversity that you guys had to.
I know. I feel like in about 10 years, I'm going to be in a psychiatrist's office diagnosed with PTSD, and I'm finally going to deal with it. But until then,
Yeah.
I have to keep soldiering on. But it was just, we've never had this. I mean, it's been 100 years since we've had something like that to deal with. And
Mhm.
I'll never forget whenever my co-producer John Sullivan would walk toward me, I knew it was some bad news, and I would just look at him going, "Oh
No.
no, what is it going to be this time?" And
Like,
one time it was like we're shutting down. The other time it was that Sean, our director, got COVID. So
oh my
how's he going to direct
gosh.
the movie with COVID? And just things like that, you know.
Yeah.
So,
Sean was so fun too, I will say. And I also got to spend some time with John Sullivan too, and you guys
yeah,
are just awesome. But yeah, I do remember Sean was really fun to be directed by. He has like a fun spirit about him, so
he does. He works. I think he works well with young people because he's done so many
mhm,
Disney movies, and that's kind of his home base. So he relates
mhm.
well with younger people. Well,
Yeah.
beyond Reagan, to walk us back to how you got your start at the very, very beginning. What made you want to kind of get into the talent show circuit, and how did it start?
Oh my goodness. Well, I guess, my story starts pretty much 11 years ago. So I started this journey with ventriloquism when I was about 9 or 10. And, what I guess my story just kind of starts with me being a pretty reserved, very introverted kid. And, but I had such a love for performing arts and music just because I grew up in a very musical family. My grandparents were in a band together, and my mom and her sisters all sang growing up. And so
Mm-hmm.
naturally, I just kind of took to it because I grew up listening to my mom sing in church, and
Hmm.
I sang with her in church. But it always was hard for me to get on a stage when I was younger because obviously it was just terrifying for me. I did not have that confidence quite yet, and I definitely found that through ventriloquism when I discovered it. I was 9 years old, and my mom put me in these little beauty pageants. So I did a lot of pageants growing up, and this girl I met through the pageant system did ventriloquism for her talent. So I had never seen it before in my life. And at 9 years old, I was like, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna learn how to do that. I'm obsessed. This is the most incredible thing I've ever seen. I have to learn how to do this. And so around 10, I started teaching myself. And then my parents surprised me with my first puppet for my 10th birthday. And yeah, so I've been doing it for 11 years now because I turned 21 last October. But
Wow.
that's kind of how I got my start. And of course, AGT and all
Yeah.
this stuff.
Well, what was the AGT experience like?
Oh my gosh.
That's America's Got Talent, by the way.
Yes, America's Got Talent was all things incredible and chaotic and also unpredictable.
Was it in Los Angeles or New York or where is it?
They're LA based, so they when I my season, I think they're shooting it the live shows somewhere different now, but my season, my very first audition was in Pasadena, California.
Hmm.
And then when I got the Golden Buzzer, I got uh pushed through straight to the live shows, and they shoot the my season they shot the live shows at the Dolby on Hollywood Boulevard where they shoot like the Oscars and stuff.
Right.
So that was really cool. So yeah, I lived with pretty much me and my mom lived at the Lowe's Hotel for like 6 weeks.
Mm.
And it was wild. It was just like such a weird dynamic just because I was still in middle school and experiencing all of these wild things in California and um, having no expectation to make it as far as I did, and the impact that the ventriloquism made on people and blowing up on social media. It was a very heightened time, and
Hmm.
I think a lot of it kind of went straight over my head just because I was I was literally a child. And so, yeah, it's wild to think back to it because I think when I was in it, it was just such a blur. But now,
Mm.
at like 21, when I think back, I'm like, I don't know how I did that as a 12-year-old. I don't know how I did that.
Wow.
I don't know. It's crazy to
Yeah.
think
So
about.
so you show up and what happens on day one?
So so I sent in very first I sent in a video audition, and they really liked it, but they wanted to see me audition in person because I don't think they thought that I was truly doing the ventriloquism.
Really?
Yeah, at least that's my assumption. I think they just wanted to check this out in person.
That's a compliment. They didn't even think you could, they didn't think that was possible, huh?
Yeah. So the closest audition city that was close to Oklahoma was Austin, Texas. So we
Mhm.
drove to Austin, and I kind of got to like fast forward through like the massive lines that you see on the show at audition
Mm.
cities just because
Hmm.
I kind of had just kind of a pre-screening type deal. So
Right.
I went in and pretty much gave them everything I could do, and like about like I think probably a month later they called and were like, "Okay, we want you on the audition show." And it
Mm.
was like, "Okay, wow, so this is happening." Um and yeah, we flew to Pasadena. Like my whole entire family came with us because we were like, "We're never gonna be back here. Like I'm not gonna get through." I don't think my family obviously is so supportive of me, but I think all of us were like really just not expecting for me to go far. I think my parents expected it to be sort of like, yeah, the judges like, you're so cute, you've got a lot of work to do, come back. And but that just wasn't the case, and then I got the golden buzzer, which just was insane. Very pivotal moment for me. And I do remember sitting with my family, like me and my family, when we went to a hibachi grill after,
Hmm.
all just sitting there like, so like what happens now? And I had to keep my golden buzzer moment a secret for like a month because
Whoa.
yeah, the very first auditions you see are pre-recorded.
Wow.
And so I couldn't tell any of my friends when I got home. They're like, "How did you do? Did you get through? Did you not get through?" I couldn't tell them anything.
Oh
I
my
just had to be
goodness.
like, just give them a look. I don't know. That was crazy. But the live shows are actually live. So that was, yeah,
So for an
wow.
entire month, you kept the secret.
Yeah.
Wow. You must have had some friends going, "What? Don't you trust us?
Yeah, it
Why
was
won't you
hard.
tell us?" And you couldn't put it on social
And
media.
it was funny. I think one of my friends at one point were like, "Did you get the golden buzzer? Did you?" And I'm like, "No, that's so hard to do." Yeah, that's
Man.
crazy. And
So your family knew though.
yes, yeah. So my parents were like so worried about my little brother because he
Mm,
was like 8 or 9, and he's just as ornery as could be at that time.
right.
So my parents really had to crack down on him. They're like, "You cannot tell your friends. You can't tell anybody."
Well, that's
So, but he did a
amazing.
good job.
So a
Kept it.
month later, you come back, and then it's the big announcement, huh? The big reveal.
Yeah, so we had a massive watch party at my house and
Mhm.
all my family and all my friends. And that's a night I'll never forget. It was really emotional because I think at 12, obviously I was like, yes, this is amazing. I can't believe this happened to me. But watching my family and friends react to it too, I think solidified how crazy that it was.
Yeah.
So that was very that was crazy. And AGT highly recommended I make social media accounts because
Hmm.
my social media accounts have been private up until this point. And
Right.
so I had made a public account for Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. And that night that episode aired, I actively watched my Instagram numbers just climb.
Mm.
And it was like, what is happening?
Oh.
Yeah. And I think, my parents, I love them so much. They handled everything with, I mean, such grace, in my opinion. Because, it not only changed my life, it changed my whole family's life, really.
Yeah. Right.
It was, yeah, wild.
Yeah. What was that like? I mean, I know your mom. She seems like she's very well balanced. Like she's not overprotective, but at the same time, she does have to protect you from probably crazy people. What has that been like?
Yeah. They've been wonderful. I think my parents have never once made me feel like I had to do any of it, just because after AGT, I got pretty much catapulted into a career at 13
Mm-hmm.
and started touring on the road while simultaneously going to middle school still.
Mm.
So, it was a really weird dynamic for me as a kid, and at times I just kind of felt like I want to be normal. Like I just want to have a
Right.
normal life.
Yeah.
And they never made me feel like I had to do it or pressured me to continue doing it at all. They just were supportive of either way. If I wanted to keep going or quit, they would support me either way. But yeah, and I will say they're pretty protective. Just because, I've had some crazy like stalker
Mm.
happen, wild, and
Oh man.
a lot of instances like that. And so obviously it's like my poor parents, it terrifies them, but they do what they can and they've done a really great job.
Yeah. And of course, your home state is Oklahoma. That's home for you. So you
Mhm.
stayed close to home and You just do your
Mhm.
touring from there, and you go off on one-off dates. So
Mhm.
after AGT, all that happens, then what is it? Are you opening for other people, or what kind of a touring was it?
So after AGT, I did play Planet Hollywood in Vegas for 4 nights.
Hmm.
Um, and obviously I did not have a goal in mind of having a Vegas residency at 12.
Right.
So me and my management team that I had attained at the time, we were like, what are we gonna do with this? And initially we were like, okay, probably go on the road. That was the next option. And it was crazy, I remember after Vegas, I came home and I did a Christmas show in Oklahoma City as like a welcome home kind of homecoming show before I went out on the road.
Hmm.
And what's wild is that we had booked all of these shows on the road and honestly did not even have a show yet. So,
Man.
because the extent of what I did was those 2 to 3 minute
Right. And now you've got to
routines
fill. How long are the
on
shows?
AGT. I mean, I had to fill at least an hour.
Oh, wow.
And so we ended up reconnecting with this family band that really good friends with that also auditioned on AGT.
Hmm.
And they're just a band of they're a whole family band, like brothers and sisters who play music and everything. And so we teamed up with our friends and they opened for me and then also played my show's music for me. So we ended up kind of, I mean, we created a show with very little time and went out and started touring. It was crazy.
Wow. Oh, that's amazing.
Hmm.
So that's just for the next. Now, did you continue on that pace over the last 10 years, or what did you take breaks? What did you do?
So I pretty much toured consecutively off and on from like 13 to 18 years old. So, and of course, so I did that, but then I also got to do a lot of other opportunities. Like I did a lot of stuff with Nickelodeon over the years and
Hmm.
um, just little kind of just appearances here and there. And I during COVID, I got into music a lot just because all of my shows canceled during COVID, and so I was home with nothing to do. So I started writing music. I got a lot into music then, and my senior year rolled around, and I had a really hard time that year with like what's next. And I'm kind of still in that season
Mm.
because I just had been pretty much touring and doing this for 5 years from like 13 to 18. And
Hmm.
I just like, what's next? Like, I'm now an adult and I'm not a kid anymore. And I still feel kind of frozen in this like tw era of 12. Like, that's what they know me as a kid. And
Right.
so right now I'm trying to kind of figure out what my brand and career is going to look like as an adult.
Mm.
But yeah, when I graduated high school, I took pretty much 2 years off of touring,
Mm-hmm.
which was really needed for me. Like, I needed the time of reflection because I think everything that had happened to me was finally catching up to me at 18. And I had to just really process and figure that out because a part of me was super burnt out and
Yeah.
just like, I don't know if I want to do this anymore. And I was just also just an angsty like 18-year-old. I was like, I don't want to do it anymore. Yeah. But yeah, I needed those 2 years to really just reflect, honestly. And I miss being on the road and performing. So I wrote an entire new show and I started touring again top of last year.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a good 2 years for me to just kind of reflect and kind of just start kind of starting over because two years really did hurt kind of my relevancy a little bit.
Right.
Especially like on the road. So I started kind of pretty much from zero and
Yeah.
started in comedy clubs and kind of just building my way back up. And I'm about to start writing a new show because the show I've been out on with currently is called the Up Close and Personal Tour.
Mm-hmm.
And now I think really kind of start exploring like, who is Darci Lynne as an adult, and a ventriloquist and not a kid anymore.
Hmm.
And so just kind of tossing around what the next tour is going to be named. I thought about growing pains or like existential crisis, which is just kind of what season of life I'm in right now. So sorry, that was a lot. I just yapped.
No, that's good. And what about, have you thought about college? College?
I did. I don't think I'll go to school. I did think about it when I graduated, which I graduated 3 years ago.
Hmm.
So I did think about going to Belmont and Nashville and studying music.
Hmm.
That was a big idea that I was tossing around.
Yeah.
But, essentially I decided I was like, I really love performing, and I think if I were to go to school, obviously that takes up a lot of time and
Yeah.
dedication and commitment and a lot of, you know, things in my career that I would want to work towards I wouldn't have as much time to dedicate to if I were to go to
Hmm.
school.
Hmm.
So it was just kind of like which path do I want to take?
Mm.
So I decided to just kind of full on career it,
Hmm.
which has been good, I think.
Yeah, it'd probably be hard to come back after taking a 4-year hiatus too, wouldn't it be?
Yes. I mean, a 2 year hiatus was enough to definitely kind of have me start over. So it was, yeah,
Yeah.
4 years would be a lot.
Well, after you, they're going to have to rewrite the rules about young people, becoming celebrities because you seem to have handled it really well. Your family and you have handled it really well, unlike so many stories. Do you think your parents were really aware of that? And like, had you guys watched the episodes of Gary Coleman or, whoever had big problems? Were you guys really aware of the pitfalls?
Oh, definitely. I mean, I think we were, well, I mean, I was oblivious. I'm going to speak for my parents, I think. But my parents, I think, were aware to a certain extent, but there were so many instances of learning along the way
Hmm.
that obviously I obviously got thrown into this whole new world, but so did my parents because I
Right.
was a kid and they weren't just going to hand me off to someone and and that's that. So my
Right.
parents both quit their jobs, which was wild, and started kind of full-blown working for me, which is funny to say. But that was crazy. I think they both just definitely wanted, of course, to protect me and make sure that I wasn't just tossed into the hands of somebody that would not have my best interest.
Yeah.
And but they've done a really great job, and it's taken a toll on our family. It was hard for a while for to work with your family and but my parents just wanted to be involved and to make sure that I was spoken for and then they also did a really good job, I think, of making sure I felt as normal as possible throughout
Hmm.
all of it.
Hmm.
My brothers certainly did. They're always humbling me, you know. They don't see
Yeah.
me as a celebrity or whatever. And
Go
neither
take the
do I.
trash out.
Yeah. I was not above chores or
Right.
me or getting in trouble. Yeah. So it my family has done a great job of keeping me grounded and not I think after AGT there was big talk of like all these industry people, you need to move to California, you need to be in LA, and you need to be here. And I'm so glad that I stayed in Oklahoma. I mean, not that LA is bad. I love visiting California, but I think staying here truly helped me stay grounded to who I am and not lose
Hmm.
myself
Hmm.
and and get caught up in all of just I think some of the evils of the entertainment industry,
Hmm.
which it sucks that there is that out there. But
Yeah.
yeah, they did a great job. I'm very, very grateful. They've always had my back. So
Well, let's talk about music. So, what have
yeah.
your music moves been since then?
Yeah, well, my music has not been linear at all. It's kind of been on the back burner recently just because I've been so busy with this new show
Hmm.
that I've been touring with. But it's definitely not going away. I think I'm just trying to figure out the best possible way to go about it. Um, because I love music, and I think if I didn't have that outlet, I would just go crazy.
Who are some of
But
your favorite artists? Who do you look up to? Who do you admire?
ooh, um, I'm
Or who do you listen to, maybe?
I'm a huge Chris Stapleton fan.
Okay.
Um, he's incredible. His lyricism is just awesome. But I'm a big Nora Jones girl too. Like I love her vibe. And Etta James, like older music too.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Etta James is one of my like vocal heroes. She's just incredible.
You like
Um,
you like kind of the soulful artists
yeah,
with
very,
the
very
voices.
soulful.
We tried to get Chris Stapleton to sing a song for the movie. It didn't work out.
Oh my gosh, that would have been so cool.
That would have been really cool.
Yeah. And his story is just so inspiring to me because, I have really big dreams for my music and I think it's hard to have like patience
Mm-hmm.
for that. And I mean, he was in Nashville for 10 years before he
Yeah.
ever got noticed and wrote over 1,000 songs before he ever had a hit song. And so I think that was very that having that perspective of like you're in it for the long game. If you really,
Right.
really, really are passionate about music, then it is like a journey. So yeah, I just really love his story and he just seems like also a really humble person to me too. And
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
he's talked about how he's pretty introverted and I'm like I can see myself in that where he expresses himself through music on a stage, but then off stage, he's just like himself and not.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so yeah, a lot of different art. I grew up on so many different kinds of music, like 40s and 50s jazz, like Frank Sinatra's a huge Frank Sinatra fan, and
Mm-hmm.
but my dad also got me hooked on like Poison and like 80s hair band rock. So a lot of different
Mm-hmm.
genres swimming around in my
You've
head.
got
So
the soulful side from your mom, maybe, and then your dad's doing the 80s hair metal. That's quite a
yeah,
combination.
yeah, it's really funny.
So, do you incorporate music into your act?
Yeah, well, I mean, singing is pretty much, I feel like my signature thing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but so yeah, I mean, I sing with all my characters,
Mm-hmm.
but I have also really enjoyed I've learned a lot about comedy and comedic material, like having performed in comedy clubs now for the first time all last
Mm-hmm.
year
Mm-hmm.
was an experience in itself.
Wow.
Um, but I will say singing is obviously my strong suit. So yeah, I sing with all my characters,
Mm-hmm.
and they all kind of sing different genres too. So it's very
Mm.
variety of things.
Well, what is it like? You were thrust into not just the spotlight, but the social media spotlight, right? You said the AGT people wanted you to open your social media accounts. I mean,
Hmm.
I honestly, I feel bad for you guys, my kids' generation, to have so much public exposure. It's hard enough to get through the teenage years just in, normal high school, junior high, whatever. But to imagine that you're out there in front of millions of people and they all feel like they can comment on something that you did or wore or something. What in the world was that like?
I don't read comments. I can't do it. And I literally the other day I fell victim to reading some of the comments, and I have honestly been pretty lucky to not be criticized a whole lot, but
Hmm.
there's always that one person. And I just have found it's better to just not read it because, like, unless you're just like rock hard and not sensitive like I am.
Hmm.
So, yeah, I don't know that I feel like I'm still learning about that. So, I don't know if I have the greatest advice for anybody, but I guess my first piece of advice is just to not read any of the comments,
Hmm.
or at least try to focus on the good ones. But I
Hmm.
don't know. It is hard, and I think it it certainly creates a lot of identity issues, um, for me at least. But it's terrible. People are, they just cop out and think they can hide behind a screen
Hmm.
and say anything they want. But it's yeah, very hurtful and definitely a very toxic place to be sometimes. So I've tried my very best just not to. I'll just have my fun and post what I want to post, and then I'll
Mm-hmm.
just get off and
Mm-hmm.
engage when I'm not when it's okay for me to engage and I won't be like affected by anything that people say. So, but it's hard. It's easier said than done to just not listen
Mm-hmm.
to people talk negatively about you
Yeah,
because,
you probably have a lot of comments too, though, so you probably can't even read them all if you
yeah,
wanted to. So
yeah.
that's probably the good thing, right?
Hmm.
Yeah. What about friends and dating and how do you have normal friendships and go on dates when you have this kind of, when you're out there like you are, can you maintain a normal life somehow?
No, I definitely have, I feel like. I've been really, really blessed with good friends. I will say high school was hard. I didn't physically go to my high school. I was enrolled there as a public school student and did their online program. So I still got to walk at graduation, but I never really felt a part of any sort of high school experience, really. And that was tough for me because I think at the time, well, I think most every teenager just really longs for to be a part of something and fit in. At least I did, and I did not fit in at all
Right.
because of my life at the time. And so, yeah, that was tough for me, but I've had really close uh knit friends. Like I have a lot of friends, but like m my best friends have kind of stuck with me, which has been really nice. And um, as when I was out on the road and traveling, sometimes it was hard to be out of sight and out of mind and not invited to things. But
Right.
then I had to remind myself that like there's a reason that like God placed me in this platform, that why I'm out here on the road doing things and
Mm-hmm.
inspiring other kids. So there's a reason for the sacrifice of not having a normal high school experience.
Mm-hmm.
And I can see that now, but at the time I was like, I just want to be normal and I want to be a part of a friend group and
Mm-hmm.
yeah, so it's easier to look back at it now with like hindsight of I can understand, why my path was my path, but I've just had a really good um couple of friends, like, quality over quantity that
Mm-hmm.
have just like stuck by me. And as far as dating goes, I don't know, like I have a boyfriend right now and he's wonderful. But before him, it was just kind of, I don't really know how it went. I think a lot of boys were kind of just scared of me, didn't
Yeah.
really know what to do with me because of like all the things that came with me.
Right.
And so, it's it was interesting. And I'm also just like an awkward person, so I kind of met my match in an even more awkward person and my boyfriend now. Like we met at a wedding and he he was cousins with the bride and I grew up with the bride, but he came up to me because he knew who I was and he came up to me and he was like the first thing he said to me was like just want to say I love your work. It was hilarious. And yeah, we just talked for a long time about different things and he I think he was really surprised at how like normal I actually am.
Mm-hmm.
And we just really hit it off, and I ended up like giving him my phone number, and I don't do that. I don't give out my phone number to people, but there was something about him that just was really endearing. And so we've been dating for over 2 years now.
Mm.
So he's the best. Uh, I don't foresee dating anybody else, if you know what I mean.
So you
So,
found somebody more awkward than you. That's a great.
yes,
That's funny.
truly. I mean, he is like my match.
What
So.
do you think? You talked about people that were inspired. How do you think you've inspired people, especially young people? What kind of feedback do you get? What kind of letters do you, emails do you get from people, young people especially?
The one thing that I've gotten back over the years, which has been, I've tried, I'm actively trying to look at it as like, this is a blessing, this is really cool. But sometimes I think it falls a little too heavy on me because I have just a perfectionism complex.
Mm,
But I've met so many kids and so many parents who come to my shows and they're like, Darcy, thank you for being such a good role model for my kid.
mm,
And thank you for my brand is very family friendly. It'll always probably be that way.
Mhm.
Um, and so I think parents come through and they're just grateful for their kid to watch somebody who's not, necessarily crude or, you
Mm.
know, just something for the whole family to watch. I feel like my demographic's super multi-generational.
Mhm.
But it is like I'm like, oh my gosh, like I'm a role model for these kids, and so I can't do anything wrong. Like I can't screw up. I can't say something wrong, or I have to uphold this specific image that might not even be true to myself.
Mhm.
And so
Mhm.
I've just really struggled with that over the years.
Mm.
But then again, I'm like, that's really cool that these kids have found something that inspires them and they bring their own characters and puppets to my shows. And
Mhm.
so that's really cool because I see myself in these kids of like just trying to figure themselves out and whether or not they're like an outgoing kid or really introverted like I was, they have found something that they connect with like I did when I was 10. And
Mhm.
so I think that's really cool whenever I do get those feelings of I'm burnt out. Does this mean anything to people? Am I still like, what is this? And when I meet kids like that, I'm like, okay, that's a reminder of like, this is why God placed you in this area
Mm.
and why he gave you this specific gift. So,
Now, ventriloquism, is that right? Did I say that correctly?
yeah.
I mean, that's an older person's thing typically, right? So it's in a way you've kind of brought it to the next generation. I think of
Yeah.
like older people doing it usually.
Yeah. No, it was always a male-dominated art
Right,
form.
right,
And it was always adults. But you obviously you had like Sherry Lewis and Lamb Chop,
right, of
which incredible,
course.
incredible. But it was, yeah, very for the longest time a male-dominated art form.
Hmm.
And so I think that's why people really connected with me when I kind of showed up because obviously, yeah, I was a kid, I was 12 and I was a girl. And that's just not something that you've necessarily seen over the years with ventriloquism. And so it's been really cool um to be considered like a trailblazer for that.
Hmm.
So that's very definitely honored with that. And I think it's hard for me to see that the value in that too. Because like, I think artists and people in the entertainment industry are the most insecure people ever, myself included. So
Hmm.
it's cool to notice that yeah, that I've kind of at least pave the way for some other girls and boys that are wanting to do this. So
Well, that industry must be very thankful to you for injecting young people into it because, like I said, I think you're right. I think of like a 60-year-old man doing it. That's kind of my impression, until you came along.
yeah, because you always think of most people I meet, the only other ventriloquists that they have heard of are Jeff Dunham or Terry Fader, you
Hmm.
know,
That's true.
and all of these older guys who
Hmm.
are incredible at the art form too.
Yeah.
But yeah, there aren't a lot of women. At least I know all the other ventriloquist women, but they're not as known outside of the ventriloquist community.
Hmm.
So yeah,
What's a typical show like for you? What's the attendance like when these 8 dates you just finished, for instance?
yeah. Well, my attendance has been different all last year and throughout this year than it was in the past. Because obviously, after AGT, I was like riding that high when everything was blown up and playing like 3,000 seat venues, which was awesome. That was really, really cool.
Hmm.
But this, like I said, I was kind of starting back at the beginning. And so last year started small in comedy clubs, which is like 200, 300 people.
Hmm.
And so I've kind of worked my way up this year now. I've been in more like 800 seaters and
Okay.
700 seaters and sometimes 1,000, which has been really cool to see um, people still love this niche thing.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah, so it's been really cool. And so yeah, just gonna try to continue to kind of grow and not that I'm necessarily rebranding, but really like I'm trying to figure out who I am in my career as an adult because
Hmm.
it started out as I was a kid. So it's a weird like transition.
Yeah. What is it? What do people like about it so much? Why do you think people are attracted to ventriloquism?
Well, there's a specific magic to it. Like there's so much, I think, there's so much to ventriloquism that I think people don't see. Like there's a lot of world building
Mm,
and their characters. My characters that I've created, I've tried to place a lot of characteristics into them that come from real people and myself. So a lot
mm,
of them I have created they're they go, they're gonna go through the material that I do in my shows. They're gonna go through real experiences and have emotions and likes and interests like real people.
yeah.
And so I think what is so magic about it is that you can create this whole character that's relatable, that has faults like a human being, that is like, just this character and that you can relate to. And so I just think there's a whole process behind the actual gimmick of talking with my mouth closed and
Hmm.
having this character have a voice. Like it's like a character off a TV show that you can relate to, but
Hmm.
I don't know if that makes sense.
How long did
But
it take to learn the technique?
um you know, I feel like I've been doing it for 11 years and I think I'm not the best I can be at it, but
Mm,
I mean, I think it's taken 11 years for me to be really good at it because, and I think it helped that I started as a kid because kids retain information so like better than adults. And so,
right.
well, I don't know if that's true. I feel like
Well,
I've been
probably.
told that.
Hmm.
But it just I don't really know how if I've even mastered it. I will say like it's taken a lot of years to get the cadence down because it's like the goal is for the audience member to not pay attention to me,
Mm,
pay
hmm.
attention to the character that
Right.
they seem so real
Right.
and tangible and like a real thing. That's the goal of ventriloquism is that it kind of removes you from
Mm,
it. But I don't know. I feel like I'm still learning and getting better at it every time I do it. And
mm.
so I don't know if there's ever going to be a point where I'm like, I've mastered it because I don't think anyone can be perfect at anything. So
Yeah.
obviously.
Yeah.
So,
And what about, I know you've done these acting roles as you did for us. What does the acting look like for you in the future?
oh my gosh, I would love to act more. I think, I don't know. That's a good question. I'm honestly trying to figure that out right now of what kind of like roles I would want for and what projects I would want to be a part of and
Hmm.
just what that looks like with also schedule wise too. And
Hmm.
but I do know I want to do more of it. I think it's just a matter of pulling the trigger and figuring out just kind of where I want to go with it and everything. So
Mm.
still figuring that out actively,
Yeah.
actively figuring that out.
Well, you've been such a good example for so many, but also just like I said, with your mother and your father. I haven't met your father, of course, but with your family, you guys have handled it so well, and so they're going to have to make a new edition of all those weird TV shows where they explore all the horrible things that happened to young actors and young entertainers in the past. They'll make a new edition for you guys and say that you can do this and still end up healthy and normal and you
Yeah.
know, that's something to be very proud of, I think, as a family.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Mm. Well, thanks for visiting with us and reliving some of
Mhm.
our Reagan memories and just in general. And I wish you the best of success.
All right. Thank you.
You got it.